Hey, look, Chase is here.
Hey, Chase.
Hello there. I wasn't able to raise my hand, but you lifted me to the stage. You're so strong.
You raise him up.
So,
Amen.
yeah, I don't mean to interrupt or nothing.
No, it's a
No.
call-in show. Come on in.
Okie dokie. Well, let me see if I can do this too. I might even be able to turn on my camera if you want. Camera.
Hey,
There we
there
go.
he is.
A lot of face in there for you. Okay.
That's what we like.
So yeah.
We do
Anyway,
like faces.
I guess yeah. Um, if you wanted to talk about relationship stuff, um, something I think I learned from past relationships is that I need to be picky. I need to be very um cautious with who I get involved with because uh don't want to go around breaking hearts or getting my heart broken if we can avoid it and stuff. And so I think it's good to like have a lot of things in common, um similar values, and similar. I mean, that's I guess what I'm trying to figure out is like where to draw the line as far as similarities and dissimilarities in a partner, because like I can't imagine being with somebody, like I don't think it would be healthy for me or a good fit for me to be with somebody who wasn't a vegan, who wasn't an atheist, who wasn't a leftist. You know what I mean? Like I could barely have friendships with people that don't fit into those categories, you know what I mean? Um a- and so I don't know if you guys have thoughts on that. I live with my parents who are on that total opposite side of like all three of those criteria. And we get along pretty well, but that's just because we don't talk about those things very often, or if we do, it's very surface level, or we only talk about it for a little while and then go back to surface level stuff.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, all of these things I could. Oh, sorry. You want to go? You
No,
want
you
to
go
say?
for it. You're locked and loaded. Let's hear it.
I am. So all of these things, picky, being cautious. I think those two things kind of go hand in hand. Things in common, values. You listed a few examples. That you would want them to be a vegan. You would want them to be atheist. Um, I wanna start real tiny here, and I want to test the waters here. Let's say this you met this person, and you guys really hit it off, and then later in the progression of the relationship, as you say, you found out that she wasn't really like a theist, but wasn't really an atheist either. She was just like, you know what? I think there's a higher power. I don't know much about that. I don't know much about anything, but yeah, I think there's a higher power. Where do you go with that from that point?
But she doesn't have like a high level of confidence, or
Oh, she's
is that what
confident.
you're implying?
She's
Oh, she's
confident.
confident. Yeah, I mean, at least like not talking about, like, because I have religious trauma, so
Hmm.
at least she's not like a Christian, all hardcore fundamentalist, like, Bible believing,
Hmm.
it sounds like in the hypothetical you're not talking about that, but just maybe some deity, some kind of or something. Um I
Hmm.
mean, maybe the thing is like um it gets pretty clear what my values are because I wear them on my sleeve or on my shirt, or
Hmm.
I talk about them I'm pretty upfront because they're all of those things are so important to me, um that I'm always talking about them. And as an activist, trying to improve the world, trying to get the word out on those things. And so she would probably, get it from the start or close to it, but I could imagine, like a day or something goes by and we got to talk about veganism and we got to talk about leftism, but we didn't get to touch upon the atheism thing. And
Yeah.
but I'm like, oh, but I'm pretty interested in her. So yeah, I could imagine of the three things that I mentioned, leftism, veganism, or atheism, the atheism thing would be the one that I would budge the most on, if at all. Like, you know what I mean? That I would budge at all on, but it would only be to that degree where it's not the same kind of God that hurt me, if you know what I'm saying.
Hmm.
Did you try dating without being picky in the past?
I used to, just hook up left and right kind of thing, and that was cool, in its time. But
Hmm.
I'm older now and looking to settle down and stuff like that.
Hmm. So how did you learn to be more picky? What
Well,
solidified
I
that?
had a rule already when after I'd gone vegan. I had a rule that I would only date other vegans, and this girl who I was interested in, like, I told her that, and she was like, "Oh, fine, I'll go vegan," and she was like, "Well, I'll do it till Thanksgiving, and then, like, so, like, 3 months, I'll do it for 3 months and see how I feel or how I like it, and then I'll, you know, rethink it at that point." And, so I was like, "Okay, then that's good enough for me to date you, so now let's go have some fun, right?" And, but then we were together for, like, a year and a half, and she stayed vegan that whole time, except that she cheated on it a couple times. And, um, so, and she wasn't, like, super activist or anything about it. It seemed like she didn't really internalize it, but it turns out it seems like she did it for me, not for the animals. But because, like, after we broke up, she was like a month later posting pictures of beef jerky with her new boyfriend, and I'm like,
That's a double whammy
so
on
I'm like,
you.
never again.
Yeah, I see.
That sounds like a
Yeah, so I
slam on
kind of
you.
want
Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of want, like, a seasoned activist for human rights and animal rights, you know.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I mean that's a huge interest of yours. Like, I mean, that's what you spend your time doing. I
Yeah.
can imagine that you'd want somebody to at least be behind you on it, if not with you,
Yeah,
beside you.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because it's different than just a regular hobby or passion that somebody could have or a career, you know. Couples, like, could have different, like, you know, career paths or hobbies, and that need not get in the way of a proper functioning relationship. But some things, like political views, are not necessary for every couple. I guess, there are some Republicans that are with Democrats and some religious people that are with non-religious people. But when you're as fervent, as passionate as I am about those issues, it's hard to make it work with, you know,
Mm.
somebody who's so different.
Yeah, I can imagine. Like, I mean, that's a very completely different framing of the world in a lot of ways. So I get
But
that.
I have had some girlfriends who fit that description of being vegan, leftist, atheists, and it still didn't work out. So
Yeah, you got
I'm
a lot of
screwed no matter what.
criterias, man. Chase, you got your work ahead of you because, like, I mean, let alone trying to find
Yeah.
somebody you're compatible with in general. You got like three real specific categories you have to have uh, pretty strong alignment on, and that makes your odds even harder than the rest of us.
I think you're cutting up, David. You're cutting up.
Yeah. Doesn't look good on my end either.
I might be
Yeah, they
frozen.
froze.
Okay, you're good now.
Oh, there you go. You caught up real fast. Have you ever
Hey,
seen it when it does that?
hey,
It like
everybody.
slows down and then catches back up.
Yeah, yeah. I just had to buffer my brain for a second.
Chase, so you can stop me at any moment if I'm incorrect about this, but
Okay.
it sounds like to me that there's like, if you have a fear that if you were to date someone with these opposing ideas, that it would cause, I'm guessing here, cause friction or uneasiness.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the relationship and in my mental health and in probably
Mm.
their mental health because I might not be a good um I mean I might not be a good force in their life if I'm always angry at them or whatever. But it's also possible that if I were to be super cool about it, that they wouldn't be that they would be start coming into the idea, you know, whatever the idea may be. But again, I don't want to take that risk because it seemed like that happened before and it didn't really work out,
Hmm.
because she went back on it.
What's
Okay, go ahead.
what's the worst case scenario if you were to date someone with not all of these things in common? What's the worst that would happen? Worst case scenario.
We develop feelings and like then it becomes a relationship, but it's a complicated relationship and with lots of ups and downs and maybe that's too much drama and stress for me to be able to handle because I already have bipolar and PTSD, so I'm good. Like I don't need no extra drama. I'm trying to find something chill.
I hear you. I wonder if you described. I wonder if everybody would resonate with that description of a relationship, like the ups and downs, and a little drama or a lot of drama. You know.
Some of it's to be expected, but I
Mhm.
just don't want overwhelming amounts of negativity or unnecessary friction. If I could have found somebody who I have
Friction.
all the yeah,
I'm
who I have
sorry.
all those positive, but if I found somebody else who I had all those same positive, um, who had those same positive attributes and we clicked really well, but also, like we were attracted and all that, but also we had the same values. I think that would make for a better relationship.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Got anything cooking there, David? I know you had something to say earlier.
So, if there was somebody who had your three main values there, they're good, they're rolling, they're good. Um, why do you think that they would like? What other kind of things have you learned about yourself that would put them in a I don't know. I'm blanking here. Why would
No, I
somebody
think I
want to date? That's a fun
wait,
question.
say that again.
Uh, why if they've got the three values, the important values to you, and
Uh-huh.
they somehow figured out how to run into you, um, what do you think would be some of the things that would draw them to wanting to have a relationship with you?
Aw. That
Friction.
sounds like it's like asking me to compliment myself.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah. Here's
because
your
I'm
chance.
awesome. They should date me because I'm beautiful.
There you go. He's
I don't
humble.
know how to answer that. Like,
Yeah.
without showboating on myself.
Here, I'll ask it in a different way. Oh,
Okay,
a different
let's
framing
hear it.
here. Not even necessarily you, just anyone. Any two people.
Mhm.
Why would people want to date each other?
Okay, for connection, um, to feel loved and to put loving onto somebody, to have somebody to lean on and be there for somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah.
And could all those things be achieved, but perhaps some of those values not be in common? Maybe one here, maybe one there.
I don't I don't think so. I mean,
Hmm.
because like I'm trying to say it nice and all, but like Trump drives me mad, for example, like with lots of stress coming right at me because of that. And so, people that are, even if they're good intentioned from their perspective, but people who are supporting that dude and all the terrible things that come with it, that, like, for example, I was doing some activism and I was doing activism for animals on the side of the street with a sign that said, "Love animals, don't eat them." And somebody, while some people were flipping me off and stuff like that, some people were waving and giving the thumbs up. But this one lady pulled over and she said she was thanking me for doing the activism, and she said that she's been vegan for 48 years. And I was like, "Oh, that's amazing, really cool." But it turns out she's a Trump supporter. She's Republican, and she's like, "Yeah, all these liberals are moving into town." And I'm like, "I'm one of them," So it's like, so we still, like exchange numbers and stuff, and plan to meet up for a vegan dinner or some coffee or something. But I just wonder how well that's gonna go, because I fight hard for human rights,
Yeah.
and Trump is violating human rights, or seeks to do this a lot, and sows division and hatred and meh.
Let me ask you a question. Would you rather spend time with someone who was just kind of ignorant and like just not involved, not doesn't have like strong opinions one way or the other, or someone who maybe supports uh, Trump, but they have like relatively consistent, uh, potentially less of the douchey uh, views to your satisfaction? Like if, but they were well thought out. They weren't just like blindly following a charismatic leader. They had like principles and stuff.
Yeah, like Republican principles cause me a great amount of stress.
Mm.
And so does the inaction of neutral people.
Mm. Oh wow, it's a
Because
double
it's like,
whammy.
damn, yeah, because it's like, damn, you're not like they're not the bad people, but they're, so it's like they're the people that should be able to stand up,
Hmm.
should be able to take the right side of things from my perspective.
Can I reframe this question that David asked a little bit?
Yeah, keep reframing me, Pierce. I
I know,
love
I'm
it.
gonna keep reframing you. So, like, let's say there's a Republican. Might not be like a huge Trump person, but nonetheless, they're a Republican. Potential uh, mate for you. And let's say they're not a douchebag. They're actually the sweetest, kindest person you've ever met. Like Mary Poppins level of sweet, right? And then you got this liberal, vegan activist, atheist activist, whatever
But
else you
they're
said, I
rude.
forgot. but they're rude and they're a douchebag. They're a huge
Right.
douchebag.
Right.
Which one do you pick?
Well, yeah, that's a tough hypothetical. I would say, I'd abstain. I'd just I just wouldn't choose if that's an option. Do I get to not
Yeah.
choose and just
That's
wait
an option. Sure.
or be a virgin my whole life? No, but I think that I can't stand rude people either, but at least their politics would be good, so the actual impact, like they might be not nice to people in their immediate area, but they're not, killing or discriminating against others. Um, whereas the Republican, even if they're nice to me and they're nice to the waiter and everybody, but they support discriminatory politics that harm poor people and LGBTQ people, etc., women, you know, mm,
Hmm.
that's a deal breaker. I don't care how sweet she is to me and the waiter if she's supporting bigoted legislation.
What if she doesn't view it as bigoted? What if she is just interpreting it, assuming it's the
Mhm.
best for those situations? Like this is like
Then
actually helping the people as opposed to harming them.
yeah, then hopefully I or someone can talk some sense into her, because that ain't it. And and in the meantime, I need not get romantically involved with her
Hmm.
until change is made.
I got a hypothetical, and it's a very silly hypothetical, but stick with me for this one. Stick with me. We're gonna take a time
Are you
machine.
are you a time machine? Are you gonna put me on a date with Alan the alien?
We'll do that one next.
Okay.
So we're going back in a time machine, and then we're going back to 2008 because that was before I met my wife. And let's say I'm chilling at the mall.
Are you trying to go on a date with
Yeah.
Chase right now? Sorry.
I can see why you thought that I was going there. No, I was not going there. So, that just broke my train of thought. But
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
chilling,
you're welcome.
and let's just say a very beautiful woman approaches me, and let's just say she's dressed up as a nun. She's a nun. She's a beautiful nun, a sexy
Mm,
nun,
Oh,
man,
just gorgeous, right?
honestly, like, yes. Go on.
I think the me
Tell me
in
more.
2008. Well, I wouldn't have
Pull
been
yourself
down necessarily with the religious ideas, right? That wouldn't have been me. I wouldn't have
That'd have been
connected
me.
with that. But I would have taken the nun out on a date. You know what I'm saying? Like I would have went for that. Like why not? So the question at the end of this hypothetical is why would I go for the date with the sexy nun, but perhaps you wouldn't go for the date with the sexy nun?
Maybe in part, I don't know if you have religious trauma, and you don't have to disclose it one way or the other, but um, it pretty serious for me. At least I have a pretty bad case of it. Um,
Okay.
and like being raised in a cult kind of stuff, and
Mm.
um, you know,
That makes sense. We've had
so
different experiences.
yeah, yes. So we've had different experiences and we have different goals, maybe.
Hmm. So the 2008 me was just like, you know, I'm going for that nun, right?
barking up the wrong tree.
You were
'Cause
just
also
going
nuns,
for.
they're dedicated to the cross, man. They can't have fun with nobody.
You know,
I think you were
I probably
focused on
just
the whole and not the holy.
I was like, you know what? If you go see a movie with me, maybe I can say grace before we eat the popcorn. It is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Yeah, I just I don't want to give up my because it was my transformation was into atheism. I revere it. I hold it in high esteem, because it took a long time to get there, and to come out of the brainwashing. I feel right. So uh, so so I don't pray with people. I don't even pretend to pray with people. I'm like, I'm gonna go into the other room while you do this, and I'll come back in a minute when you're done. Right?
Have you ever considered, or have you ever dated a former member of the cult, like someone else who's went through the similar brainwashing description you're going through?
I don't think so, actually. I can't remember dating anybody who was heavily religious. That's interesting. Yeah.
I don't think you were Mormon or Jehovah's Witness. Do you care to share?
Well,
I don't know. It's
actually,
not relevant, but I was just going to say.
no,
I mean, there's plenty of type of dating app sort of things, or pockets of people who are seeking out common griefs.
like ex-Christian singles or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Like
Yeah,
singles.
That's a thing.
I'm sure it is.
Huh.
I don't know actually. I was
If
lucky.
it's not a thing, I'm gonna go buy that domain real quick.
You ain't single. Oh, he just wants to profit off it though. And he wants to hook people up.
You got to get the X-Gen singles, and so then it almost looks like a dirty site. You can get a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Would you take?
Cool.
Yeah. One more
ahead.
question, and then I want to hear what this I just love here person wanted to come up and say. Would you take someone who grew up in a similar thing, who knows a similar trauma from their religious experience, and had a moderate to indifferent political viewpoint and relatively agreeable on veganism?
No, I just gotta wait it out. I gotta
you gotta be
just get my
picky. Right back to where we started. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's just a question of like, what do I add to that pickiness already? I got to add to that list of like, she can't be rude. I don't like it when they're rude,
Yeah, true.
And sense of humor's nice, but whatever.
Yeah, someone who laughs at stuff.
I ain't gonna be too picky.
I got a friend. His name's Alan, and he just landed in a spaceship. Would you date him?
Well, does he like to cuddle and watch movies, even horror movies?
Well, he doesn't know what horror movies are. You see, he just doesn't know anything about humans. We're not going here. This is dumb. Anyways,
often on our call-in shows, we talk about these people who have no experiences to try to think the thought process through for people, just for everybody in the audience.
Yeah,
you probably watched this. But if not, it's a fun little thought experience we do.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Chase,
thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, dude.
Cool. See ya.
See ya. Balloons.
That was cool.